I would like to show you how you can reconcile invoices in Fiscal. You can also do this using the Fiscal iOS and Android apps. This is a new account with zero balances on the P&L and in accounts receivable. To view your accounts receivable transactions, click on Accounting, Transactions and select Accounts Receivable. First thing is to note is your accounting settings. Go to Settings and click on Accounting Settings. Here you can choose between accrual or cash accounting. The default is accrual. In accrual accounting, revenue is recognised when created and sent, not when the payment is received. Create your invoice and click on Save and Review. This saves the invoice to draft status. If we look at the P&L, there's nothing there. And if we look at the chart of accounts, accounts receivable, there is also nothing since it's still in draft status and not accounted for. Now I will return back to the invoice. For the purpose of this exercise, I will generate a shared link purely to change the status to sent. We will see on the P&L that we have revenue of $100. This is because in accrual, this is being counted as revenue. And if we look at the chart of accounts, we can see this is $100, which means there is an invoice which is unreconciled. It links to the invoice but is not balanced. Even if this invoice is paid, for example by bank transfer, this is marked as paid, but there is no difference when it's marked as paid as it's not reconciled. If we look at the P&L, you will always have $100 revenue, but in the chart of accounts, in accounts receivable, there is still $100. The reason for this, even though the invoice has been marked as paid, we have not said where this money has come from, so the invoice is purely just marked as paid. To reconcile, you need to specify where the money came from. For this invoice, it's coming from your bank. Even if you get paid by Stripe, it comes by your Stripe payout. If you connected your bank, what will happen in cash and cash equivalents or credit card under liabilities, you'll see an in transaction in your bank account, which shows as uncategorized income. You then need to reconcile the invoice for that invoice payment with the money coming in. Click on Show Matches and you can select the payment. Click Update and you have now completed the equation. Once the transaction has been updated, you'll see the income in the P&L is $100. The only difference now is if we go to accounts receivable, we can see that this is now balanced, it's zero, and you have two transactions. What is being recorded is that $100 was expected, and we have received $100. If we look at the invoice and look at the payments, you can see the payment is reconciled with the bank. This is also the case if the invoice has been paid by a payment gateway, for example Stripe. When you return to your invoice, you'll see the invoice got paid and Stripe took a fee, but the payments have not been reconciled. So if we go to P&L, you will see it in the P&L. However, in accounts receivable, we have an outstanding $200. That's because this invoice needs reconciling. Go to Transactions and select your bank account. Here you should see the payment of $193.25. Click on Show Matches and select the breakdown of charges. You can see the $200 as payment for the invoice, but as there were $6.75 in fees from Stripe, the actual money we received was $193.25. The Stripe fee will be added as an expense to the P&L. Also, you'll see in accounts receivable that the balance is zero and your transactions are fully matched. If you would like to find out more about Fiscal, please go to fiscal.com.